August 2023. And we have agreed to issue a press release from the special FDC Leaders Committee. Our address is titled, Honorables Besigye, Amriat, and Mafavi will still be needed when rebuilding FDC. Good morning, honorable members of the press. We salute you for the great struggles you are engaged in to become the fourth estate in Uganda's governance system. You are very, very important in our struggle for democracy and basic human rights of Ugandans. The purpose of this press release is fourfold. There are four objectives. One, to remind you, the pressmen, of the terms of reference which our SEC means Special Elders Committee, requested to concentrate on during our investigations. Two, to respond to some of the allegations which some of the senior FDC leaders have made against us. Hey.
Sorry.
Three, to reiterate some of the recommendations we propose to make FDC stronger in the future, particularly in the next 30 months. That is from September this year to December 2025, before the next fraudulent general elections in January 2026. 4, to remind Ugandans that political liars and fraudsters are found in other political parties in Uganda. In short, what is happening today in FDC is also happening in other political parties. The NRM has 2 presidential candidates, a father and a son. UPC has 2 presidents, the son of the late Dr. Bote and Peter Walubiri. DP has 2 factions, one led by Mao, who has now gone away, and Lulume Ruiga, Dr. Lulume Baiga. Jema, I have not heard anything from them. And CP. But we are scared that such things which we are going through may also happen to NUP. So we want to pray to them to be steady and not go to the situation in which we are today. This release is our clarion call and a humble appeal to all FDC leaders in different corners of Uganda to stop washing our political underwears in the public and confusing innocent members at the grassroots. It is based on the FDC's motto, one people, one Uganda, or one Uganda, one people. We should raise above our individual interests, religious beliefs, and ethnic groups, because we are one people who belong to one country. As is already known, on Friday, 20th July 2023, 5 members from SEC, us, formally presented our 19-page report to the FDC National Council meeting here in the FDC headquarters. The 5 were me, Frank Nabuiso, the chairperson of the committee from Busoga sub-region, Tiko Martha Ondoga, a lady from West Nile who has not been able to travel here, Emusu Joe Ediegu from Teso sub-region is not here, Mukalazi Kibuka, and this big man, Robinson Kasozi. They come from Uganda. The 6th member, Stanley Tugume Katembeya from Ankole sub-region, and who was my vice chairperson, resigned from the committee after participating in the formulation of the first draft of this report. While Charles Makaru from Kanungu did not attend any meeting for unknown reasons. Honorable Amriat, the current FDC party president, who officially appointed us, revealed, as Owekitiba Chikonyogo has said, that our names were approved by the FDC National Executive Committee on 12th May 2023. We therefore got the impression that we were appointed on merit and not as sycophants to some of the current FDC leaders. Our terms of reference. These are going to be distributed to you after this meeting. Even this document is going to be distributed to you so that you can use it as a reference point. We want you to note that we were given 8 terms of reference. We were directed to focus on reconciling the aggrieved parties in FDC, but not to create more divisions among them. The term of reference number 6 also gave us 10 days to carry out our investigations and make appropriate recommendations to enable the party to move forward more peacefully and responsibly. So those who believe that we did show the work can still call for another committee. They can still request for another committee to satisfy their assertions. We are also aware that even World Bank reports have been criticized by different scholars and ordinary analysts. So our report is not perfect, and none of us who wrote it is perfect. None of us has claimed to be perfect or to be holy. We live on earth, we don't live in heaven. I now wanted to turn to some of the allegations which have been made against us. The first one is that we doctored the report in favor of Mafabi. All that he dictated to us what we should write about him. This allegation came from some newspapers, allegedly from Honorable Ibrahim Onganda Semuju, Honorable Elias Lukwago, and Doreen Nyanjura. The MP for Kira, the Lord Mayor of Kampala, and the Deputy Mayor of Kampala, respectively. We believe that those 4 people are entitled to their opinions about us. But it is still their responsibility to prove that we don't have independent minds. This gentleman has introduced me and him. This is a former minister. I'm a former professor, university, former MP for Kagoma County in the 7th Parliament. I'm one of the 50 people who rejected the 5 million shillings to remove presidential term limits from the Constitution. I'm the only one who presented the Rakitura Plan of 1993, where 77 people sat and said that they wanted to rule Uganda for 50 years. And we have gone for only 38 years, so 12 more. If not, another 50 years. The first president of FDC, whom we have high respects for, described our report as not being worthy the paper it was written on. So according to him, even in the paper we wrote on was useless, not worth reading. He further asserted that, 1, he gave us the serial numbers of the new notes of shillings 300 million, which Honorable Mafabi asked him to keep in his house in Kasangati for FDC election agents. He also said that we did not resolve the unresolved debt money, and that we did not inquire into the current accounts and the financial records of the party using forensic methods. That in Honorable Mafabi's statement to us, he never mentioned the shillings 280 million which he gave to Honorable Amriat. He also said that we parroted. A parrot is that bird which We parroted Honorable Mafabi's lies that the shillings 300 million was for party agents. And that lastly, he said that we selected and inaccurately recorded what he told us. Response is as follows. Our terms of reference advised us not to engage in witch hunting games. If Honorable Mafabi had deposited the shillings 300 million elsewhere, if, for example, he had hidden it in my house, would I have gone out to say, I have this money? Would Dr. Besigye have known and initiated this saga? Additionally, Dr. Besigye never disclosed to us the name of his informer from State House about the dirty money, as he called it. It is also true that Honorable Muriat admitted to us that he indeed obtained shillings 280 million from Mafabi for his presidential campaign. Honorable Mafabi was authorized to borrow money by the party, for the party. And Honorable Mafabi complied. He also tendered some bank papers which he showed that he withdrew money from his own bank account in Chambo. On the other hand, Dr. Besigye did not prove to us that money came from State House. I think according to the Monitor today, Dr. Besigye has shown the serial numbers of the new notes of money which he recorded, which he says came from State House. But it is also true that the State House pays money to its clients, suppliers of this or that, goods and services, and that money still ends up in commercial banks. It is also true that the money that Nandala took to Dr. Besigye was not the same money that Dr. Besigye gave back to FDC headquarters. The other ills we identified. We said that Dr. Besigye's refusal to campaign for Amuriat in 2020 to 21 disadvantaged other FDC candidates. But in his lengthy report here, he did not make any comment on that matter. Nor did he respond to our observations on the need for the party to continue participating in elections, while it can also organize other activities to pressurize the government to bring political and socio-economic reforms. He did not say in this report, this paper, publication. Anything about the growing disagreements between the Katonga group, and Najjanankumbi. But Katonga is not independent. It's not a breakaway group. It is a part and parcel of Najjanankumbi. Najjanankumbi is in charge of implementing the work plan of the party. Our recommendations to make FDC stronger. We made 8 recommendations to help the party grow. We stressed the following needs. We said there is need for reconciliation, tolerance, grooming younger leaders, amending the FDC constitution in some parts, developing party alliances in Uganda. In Kenya, for example, they usually have 2 presidential candidates only. In the last election, Ruto had several political parties which united and voted for him. Raila Odinga also had 3 or 4 political parties in Azimio alliance which voted for him. We have not yet reached there in Uganda because we have had military governments from 1966 to present. The day we will also think about forming political alliances to fight against dictatorial rule in this country, we will thank God. We also recommended that a book should be written on the history of FDC. And the people who have contributed to the party, to the growth of the party, should be highlighted. And we believe that President Besigye should be highlighted in that book because of the sacrifices he has made for Uganda and for the party. That is why we are sad that the president is undermining his own legacy. And we want to appeal to him on our bended knees that he does not do that. We also said that management of African opposition parties is no easy task. Not everybody in the FDC is a manager or can manage an institution. Yes, I have been a vice chancellor of a university. But if you put me in a political party to manage it, I may not be able to manage. And we also, there is a book I have come with here.
What do you say on those?
No, it is here. In book and some books and papers, there is already a paper called the Forum for Democratic FDC, Democratic Change historical tracking. It has not been published yet. We also have additional suggestions to the committee from Besigye. We have Kalinaki Daniel's book entitled Kiza Besigye and His Unfinished Revolution. We want that revolution to be completed. That is to create a people's government and not a government of a few people. One professor from Busoga wrote a book called In Defense of Besigye's Basic Human Rights. And Sabit Jack gave us a book, a paper called My Thoughts About the Problems in FDC. I do not mention the others, but what I wanted to explain is that some people may be whispering messages, wrong messages, to Kizza Besigye to destroy his legacy in this country. Lastly, I want to stress this. We have only 30 months left to have general elections in January 2026. One party has already identified 2 presidential candidates. The other parties have not identified their presidential candidates. So we should not waste time bickering on things which we cannot prove. We should focus on what is positive, what Ugandans want. They want a change in power. And therefore, I want you to help us, help FDC, not to waste time, valuable time, but to bring out the current problems this country is facing. Our population growth tells us that in 27 years' time, Uganda will have 103 million people. Kampala is 5 million today. In the next 20 years, it will be 10 or 15 million. What do we do with the population growth? Matia Kasaija, the Minister of Finance, told us in 2018-19, when he was reading the budget, that Uganda's economy, 69% of the economy, is in the hands of foreigners. Who is building these high scrapers in Kampala? Who has brought all sorts of foreigners here? Our educational system is pouring out 500,000 people every year who cannot get employment. And you know who is in charge of education. The other problem is that we have refused, for example, to promote cottage industries in every home. Instead, we worship investors. My time is over. Besigye is the man who became the first president of the party. Therefore, he's a key figure. And it is very important that we preserve his name. Secondly, before we issued this report, we met with the four party leaders. So let me read this. We met them in the FDC boardroom on Wednesday, 12th July 2025. The people, 23, sorry. The people we met were Honorable Dr. Kiza Besigye, Honorable Amriat, Honorable Mafabi, and Honorable Ekanya. The meeting lasted for 3 hours. We were brainstorming on the need for reconciliation and the development of the party in the coming years. We asked them, what do you want to do now? The four of you are here. This was before we issued this report. Geoffrey Ekanya told us, no, you organize a press conference. Tell the people that these fellows have reconciled. And we told him, no, that is not our mandate. Our mandate is to produce the report for the National Council to take action. None of those four people said that he did not like a reconciliation. Besigye wanted it. Nandala Mafabi said he wanted it, but he wanted the Besigye to prove that he took money from State House. So we said, okay, we have tried. If they had agreed on that day to our proposal, all this saga would not have happened. But the person, I think the person who first leaked out and said the party is, this report is about pro-Nanda, is pro-Nanda, I think was from some of Besigye's friends. Wycliffe Bakandonda, we interviewed him because he was the first Chief Administrative Officer of FDC. Personally, I worked with Bakandonda anyway, when I was a member of the board of directors on transport. He was working in railway, the railway organization. Therefore, he was a fountain of knowledge about FDC inside out, because he was the first one. So we don't believe that this is biased. No, we think that we have done our duty properly. And of course, Nandala, we have cautioned him, and Ekanya and Amuriat in this meeting which took place here. That is my answer to that question. We have recorded most of what he said. I think it was on 6th June. We interviewed Mafabi on 7th June. And we said a lot of things about it. We wrote quite a lot. We were investigating in that interaction. We also interviewed the following people: Ekanya Godfrey, because he's the current Treasurer General. We interviewed the chairman, the Wilberforce, is the current Deputy Treasurer General. Bakando and Wycliffe, because of what I have already said. We also interviewed Patrick Oboy Amriat and Namians, and we recorded their statements. They are here in full. And I think this report has been posted.
In fact, there have been some.
So we investigated. Now, one of the most important questions we asked, and maybe you may want to give us some idea. Why did Dr. Besigye agree to have this money, to keep it, when he was not the party Treasurer General? Because you know you can create problems for yourself. If you are not the party general, party treasurer, why do you accept money and keep it and then later transfer it to your shop from where it was paid back to FDC? Why? We are not demonizing Besigye. We're asking critical questions. If somebody wants to go to court, the court will ask these questions. It is also important, Madam, when Besigye was accused of rape some years ago back, he did not say a word. The lawyers said the man who accused, or the girl who accused him of having been raped, is the one to produce evidence. He did not utter any word. And the court made a judgment in favor of Besigye. So the person who insisted on this money issue is Kizza Besigye. So we are saying, that's why we have said that he is responsible for adducing evidence. We are not lawyers, we are elders, but even elders have some legal brains. Any other question?
No.
As an elder, I humbly request you to make a comment and a founding member on the ongoing party elections. I think I'm done.
Have evidence that we were bribed. Please bring it out. That's the first thing. It is you who must prove that we are bribed. I have been in the public life for many years. By the way, some of you may not know that I was the secretary to the NRM external wing in Nairobi, and the secretary to the peace talks in Nairobi between Museveni and Okello before President Moya and Kibaki. I have lived in this country in the last 38 years. Has anybody ever said that Nabuiso is corrupt? My friend is here, he can also make a comment on that. Now, so for us, we are trying to advise people not to buy rumors, because rumors can be very destructive. We did not get any money from him. I bought this suit some years ago, my children bought it for me. To spoil the name of Nabuiso. Nabuiso stands for something. It makes a man with small eyes but foresighted.
Now, for me
You
as
can
a
answer.
member of the that money changed hands. If it ever changed hands, they did it without my knowledge. And I'm sorry that I don't share the money, because I didn't even know where the money was shared. But I highly doubt that the money changed hands, because all the time we've been working as a team. And by the way, even the vice chairman of this elders committee, Tukume Katembeya, worked with us for 10 long days until he left to go to Nairobi for treatment. We kept on calling him on phone. At one time he told us he was at Entebbe airport, having arrived from Nairobi. We waited for him in Kampala, and he said now he's driving straight to Nasana to see his medical consultant. At no time did he tell us that he was resigning, until we read it through other circles that indeed he had resigned from us, and for his own reasons, some of which you have now known. The same is true with Makaru from Rukunjiri. He did not decline the appointment, just as he did not tell us why he did not show up. So that is the situation. But for me, I never shared any money, although I used to receive my transported fund from here each time I came. If that is the fund, if that is the bribe, I must admit I received my transported fund.
They both think this country must have some madmen.
That one.
For terms of reference, wasn't the alleged dirty money part of the terms of reference? And if so, how far did you go into investigating this? Because according to Dr. Besigye, released will further break apart the FDC other than binding it together. Thank you.
The terminations to the committee and the aggrieved parties we were told were Besigye and Nandala, mainly because they had quarreled in the National Council. In the consultation with the aggrieved parties, frame issues or questions that are to be resolved between them. Have an interface with the aggrieved parties and their witnesses, if any, and allow them to present evidence. Invite any person or expert that the committee may deem necessary or may be having important information that the committee may use in resolving the dispute. Come with a detailed report with the findings, recommendations, and prescribed remedies to the parties. The spirit in which the committee has been constituted is to resolve the dispute between the senior party leaders in an honest, balanced, peaceful manner and with equity. The committee should observe the principle of neutral, natural justice and the principle of utmost good faith. So we followed this. Somebody may think that we don't have even the brains to interpret our terms of reference. That is his opinion. But that's what we did. You were not here when I said that even World Bank reports, they are criticized. So now you're asking me the question, the last question. Don't you think this will divide the party more
than uniting them?
We gave those men chance to appear before us and to brainstorm with us about the future. They decided the next day to go viral, even before the report was released. Now, what should we have done? What could we have done if people decided to go the way they behave?
Maybe what they wanted explicitly. I think that's the explicit answer you want. According to you.
The issue,
yes.
I think it is a good thing. According to Besigye, the major complaint was about the 300 million shillings. And that's why we discussed it. These other stories you hear that FDC received 7 billion, 18 billion. Nobody has told us about that, and it was not investigated.
Even the 280 million given to Amuriat.
Yes,
Nobody mentioned it in the committee.
but Amuriat received it. He told us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes.
Nandala was, if you do not reconcile, you are going to tear the party. You are going to tear it up. That's why we said, let us agree before this report is released. And that caution has come true.
Thank you, Doctor.
Investigations. I said some bank statements were tendered from Stanbic Bank. I may have not said Stanbic Bank at Chambo.
Just the money that was
500 million withdrawn. I have already said. Now, Nandala Mafabi also told us that he has many bank accounts. It's not like me. Me, I operate dormant accounts. He said he has an audit firm. It is there. An international audit firm. He gets money. He worked for World Bank. He's also the chairman of Bugisu Growers Cooperative Union. And as the chairman, he has a lot of say. He has personal businesses. But we were not interested in his personal businesses. Our interest was, did he borrow money and give it to the party? And the answer is yes, he did. Did anybody, has this money been paid? The answer is no. The 300 million. Besigye's shop has not paid back. 670. January. The chief of the administrator got 120 million. On this, in the morning, in the afternoon, 80 million. Then on 15th, 73, 600. And then Uganda shillings, I think 23,730. So the unpaid balance on the 300 million from Besigye's shop is 670,000.
just a big one, Doctor. Did you interest yourselves in asking SG Nanda why this money was not banked on the party account rather than giving it to Dr. Kizabesi?
Yes, he explained.
And what could be the reason? What could be that reason?
The
And
reason-
because the party you look at it as being
The reason,
sensitive.
even Besigye has said it
Yeah.
in his, you read it.
Press conference talked about bringing some money in dollars. But in your report, we don't hear the
Being changed into dollars and so on, Besigye did not speak about it. And we didn't record it. Secondly, he refused to disclose the name. And therefore made it possible. I mean, we wanted to interview that person. But having refused to do that, we couldn't do anything about it. What was the third question?
it was about witch hunt that will not.
The legal advisor addressed the members about legal modalities that had to be observed throughout their meetings. He stressed that the committee was not a court, but could perform some quasi-tribunal functions. Next, he pointed out the expected outputs from their investigations. A, reconciling the two parties. I received a call that the president of the party and Secretary General were in Iganga town. They were addressing people on party structures. Being a FDC person, I decided to go to the meeting. And in that meeting, I talked about two things. One, that every district in Busoga should have a work plan, that you don't just release money when people have not written their work plans. And I mentioned the districts which had not given us their work plans. Two, I distributed a paper on Busoga's escalating poverty. By the way, I was questioned by Besigye about it, and I sent him the papers. For me, I do not go by hearsay. I usually write my documents. I sent him the papers. So what do you think is the crime that I committed on that day? I did not say anything about the report.
We summarized when we have over asked. Okay, last one. I'm sorry.
I did not. Secondly, where did the Nandala Mafabi? Mandala Mafabi, we told him it was wrong for him to take money to the party, to somebody who is not the party treasurer. Why did he take it there? The party treasurer, let me read for you what Ekanya said, because he was the party treasurer. He replied that the sources of finance for the party have been shrinking, and fundraising has also reduced. He added that the party is entitled to money from the consolidated fund with the approval of the Electoral Commission, its members of parliament, and contribution. But he said that he did not know of any dispute between Dr. Besigye and the Honorable Mafabi regarding that money, though he had heard about it from social media. So that's what he told us.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know whether we translate it. It does it in Uganda, but it's not very easy to do it again in Uganda. It should be conducted. They should approach the EC and they make a program to do the elections. This has been done, and the Electoral Commission has given out a program where all elections in Uganda in FDC will end on the 18th August, where they were not held then. After that day, there will not be elections again until maybe 2029. All filling in positions. People have been asking about elections. The EC has its own program, and we outed it here, and it's still ongoing. Those who are not satisfied, National Council advised them to approach the EC. That's what I can report on elections. The chief whip was replaced. You want bad words, you people of the Mandi are sacked, dismissed, which we don't do in FDC. For us, we replace someone with someone else.
Maybe the letter that was calling for some of the members to come and face the...
That letter was...
And the reason as to why, some of the reasons as to why these people must appear before the disciplinary committee.
I believe all of you read that letter. If I'm not out, all of you read it. the president said in that letter that he will out the reasons when they appear before the chairman of the disciplinary committee. So the reasons, I don't know them even myself. Because the letter is written properly, that the reasons will be given at that point when they appear.
What if they don't appear?
If they don't appear in court, what happens? Does the court run away or whatever? Secondly,
that letter where it was ending, it was saying these other people, it is the president who appointed them. Therefore,
remove them after they have appeared before. That process has to start with the chairman of the disciplinary committee sitting. And then he brings his reasons why. He cannot just wake up and, Amuriat cannot wake up and sack me. Here, I can say it on air, he can't. But when he takes him to the disciplinary committee, it is very clear in the constitution, when you're in the disciplinary committee, the president can put there someone to act in your position until that case is disposed of. And Shikonyoko, I'm talking with experience, all of you know, I've ever been in the disciplinary committee of FDC. I went with Betty Kamia, Honorable Betty Kamia, and Honorable Onzima. I'm the only one who remained in FDC. The other two are sacked. I went through it. But when you are in that, when they are charging you in that situation, you are supposed to be out of your position. Someone acts in that position. But that one who is acting is not substantive. The minute the case gets finished and you are absolved, you resume your position immediately.
Chibanyi nti waliwo that money and another that clean money. Ye yagunjawo ekintu ekyo. Ye yakitwala mu National Council. Ne yaga nti waliwo miliyoni 3 no miliyoni 5. Sente ezo zaava mu State House. Mwennyini National Council netasobola ku resolvinga kintu ekyo. Ne wabeerawo meetings 4 Besigye ze yatuulamu ne banne ne baba mwafabi ebusaabala ewa ambassador birigwa waswa bwe balemererwa kwe kuteekawo komiti eno. Naffe kye twatandikirako okwagala okumanya zino sente z'ogamba nti Nandala Mafabi yazifuna mu State House zaali mmeka. Naga nti ye bamutwalirako miliyoni 3. Tubuuza lwaki bazikuleetera ggwe, not another person. Secondly, oli gw'ogamba nti State House informer yaani, tuyinza okumubuuza oba tetuyinza kumubuuza? Kaakati ffe tugende tunoonye buli State House weri nga tugamba ani yagira ati ku ssente zino, bayinza okulowooza nti waliwo ekizibu. So the reason why this report Besigye mu Luganda Besigye ensonga lwaki yeesiba ku ssente zeezo kubanga ze zaamutwalirwa ate n'azikwatako n'akola serial numbers naki n'azitereka ewe mu gundi mu dduuka lye ery'ensambya. Kaakati ate n'azizza mu FDC. Era mu byonna bye yayogedde recommendations byalowooza nti binaaganyula, biyinza okuganyula ekibiina. The way forward, ku page 1 tulabawo recommendation yemu yokka here mu Luzungu agamba nti efforts should be made to conduct a forensic audit. Amakulu nti bongera okubuuliza mu bya ssente. Kaakati obanga ekyo ye recommendation ye era tugissamu nnyo ekitiibwa. Naye ffe twakola recommendations 8.
So kuno banafunye bulungi mu nti Vegas Yengo omukulembeze wa FDC bw'anaagera maaso n'okuwuliriza hearsay ejja kuba nga kidamaginga legacy ye.
Gwe tomanyi ng'omukulembeze bw'aba awuliriza eŋŋambo kiyinza okwonoona ebyobufuzi bwe? Tokimanyi? Aleme situgamba Besigye yekka, naye buli mukulembeze wa Uganda aleme kuwuliriza ŋŋambo. Check before you speak out. Tetugamba. Kubanga mu African rumors ziyinza okuba 95% correct or wrong. Yes.
Waliwo ekibuuzo ekirala kubanga twagala kumaliriza.
Yazifuna.
Yes.
President w'ekibiina Amuriat yatukakasa nti yafuna siringi miliyoni 2.8 okuva ewa Mafaari nga zigenda kukola ku ba party agents abaali bagenda okuyamba mu kulondesa president. So n'azikozesa mu kkuba eryo, naye ezo Besigye teyazibuuzaako nti waliwo obuzibu, teyazoogerako wadde. Naffe tetwalaba nsonga lwaki tuzibuuzaako. Makulu tugambye nti alina obuyinza okwogera kyayagala, naye document weeri history abagenda okuwandiika ebyafaayo balitunula mu bino bye tuwandiise. Naye byagambye olowooza tebagenda kubiwandiika? Time will come. So situli beeraliikirivu. Ffe tulowooza nti omuntu atuyisaamu amaaso bw'aba ayagala akole, naye nze bwe ngenda ewange mukyala wange tampisaamu maaso.
Nakidde mu Luganda.
Nze nga Kasozi badde member wa committee sifunanga ssente n'emu nga kyoja bimiro okugwa eri Nandala oba omuntu omulala yenna, era wanga waliwo ssente ezo ndoza bazigabananga nga siriiwo, sizikwatangako era siziwuliranga nako.
Bw'oba oyagala ssente ze baatuwanga mu allowance, I think mukyala gundi kaawa asobola okubawo. Ffe tuli transparent. FDC
Very political, ngenda biddamu.
Abantu bulijjo bwe beekuba mu mutima ne balaba bye bakoze nga si bituufu, ne beenenya, ne bagamba ne Mungu nti gwe watuteeka ku nsi okuyamba abantu bano abalala, era ekibiina tekibeeramu bakulembeze bankalakalira. Abantu abamu bajja abalala ne bagenda. Bwe banaaba batuuse awo FDC ejja kubeera n'amaanyi mangi.
Teri member n'omu atakkirizibwa kujja wano, era tetulina muntu ono tajja, ono alina okujja, ono tajja. Abamu ku ffe twajja mu FDC eno si kugiyingira ne gitandika, kyova tulina obuvunaanyizibwa okulaba nti tugisigazaawo. Bwe tujja wano abamu tansina okuteekamu bannamawulire, olaba omuntu enajja nakumi toyo wa Nandala, olaba omuntu ng'ayogera ne Dr. Besigye mu Kampala nti wa Dr. Besigye. Kati mutandise okutiisa n'abantu bampiro okukwatagana okunyumya n'emboozi ng'abantu ba bulijjo. Ffe kye tulabanga ekikyamu ffe. Abamu ku ffe abalina abantu bano, nze mbayo example eyange, twatandika ekibiina kino n'abakulu bano nga tukyagala buli omu alina ensonga eyamuleeta. Bano bonna badde bakulembeze baffe. Kati engeri gye mbadde mubuuza mbadde mulaga nga dokita wano atayagala wano akwagala. No, dokita ayagala wano, lwaki tayagala? Twatandika ffe n'ekifo kino, era tuli ba Luganda, tewali amutawaanya. Nandala naye alina okwagala wano. Kakati bwe ndaba nga ndi wano, mba nzize kukiikirira kibiina. Size kukiikirira Besigye, size kukiikirira Nandala. Ate oba tuyagala Nandala, noonya amagezi agamugjamu mu mateeka nga bamugjamu. waliwo engeri ssatu z'okujja mu Nandala oba tomwagala nze kampa amagezi abalala esooka ng'omusabye n'alizayininga eyokubiri okulinda delegates conference n'ogenda ba delegates ne bamugjawo eyokusatu oyinza okukwata emunno omukuba amasasi yes teri mateeka naye abavuddewo okitegeera kakati engeri endala bwetuba tuzisobola yo nga pati gyeteeka eri engeri egi kulaga nti tutuuka okulonda okutuuka mu delegates conference omutawana gwe twafunamu nga pati bannaffe abamu bagendanga ne badde ne bagamba temugenda mu kulonda abala bagamba mugende mulonde kyatawanyamu okulonda kuno naye ebyokulonda mubimanyi abalonda si ba supporters be FDC abalonda be bammemba baki be FDC naye okubeerako abantu babiri ku kyalo nga bakabe be FDC bateekayo okulonda be balonda si ekyo atali memba takola ki talonda kati waliwo bannaffe abamu ge bateekayo message ezibuzaabuzizza abantu abamu ne batalonda abamu ne bagamba kati tujja kulonda kati wekibanga okulonda kuwedde ne kukomekerezebwa gwe nodde ebweru nogaa nti tetubagalira dda naye nga totabye mu gundi yakulaba nti omugjawo mu mateeka oba oyo nabiseera ojjako abanga buka bintu gundi yo twali tetumwagala naye nga bala bamulooza akoze eki mwakirako mu kibiina ekimu abantu bonna abali balina amaanyi ab'ebitibwa naye tetujja gendayo kulonda abagenda abatonotono baali banyooma sebo oli yakyali ne president olwaleero abatwalanga bwayagala n'abantu abalina amagezi amayitirivu abatwala lwaki kyovola abamu kuffe tugamba tugendere ku mulamu ogw'okulonda okukuza ekibiina kyaffe kibiina kino tukyagala buli mwakitaddemu amaanyi mangi mubaddemu tukavalinga teri kibiina kibonyebonye nakuttibwa n'abantu ng'ekyFDC buli mwalina gwafiiriddwa lwakuba mubeera ndifeyo olumu nga muripootinga bwe mba siriwa amaanyi oti muripootinga nti gundi yafiira omuntu ne buli omw afiiriddwa n'emikwano gyaffe abantu bafiiridde ekibiina kino tetujja kukireka kufa abamu kuffe ate bannaffe ebimu bayitamu kyova olaba singa batwebuuzawo nga tebanakwogera genda nti temulonda temukola ki bandyebuuziza ku kikonyogo muganda ndoza najjukira nze nayimirizako okulonda mu FDC amekuda example enkuyimiriza mu Buganda wano I succeeded 90% abantu tebalonda naye ogenda okutegeera nti okola move eno gyokola kakati wano oyagala eggwerewa kya ending up okebikirayo nga tebalonze oluvannyuma ne balondeera ne tudda ku stage 0 nze nabagaana ate tebalonze oluvannyuma kati ku ssaawa eno waliwo abali saidi eri singa bakutunuulira bagamba temulonda nebo quietly batandise ogenda bakampeyini nga mutulonde naye nga bali ku saidi eri babuzaabuza bannaabwe gweosigalayo bakulekayo mukulu kasozi kampeguda example gyesera nakuwa ojuke twayimiriza okulonda okwo twali ffenna nga buli muganda buli omu akkiriza twali 100% nga tukkiriziganyiza aba Buganda netwandika n'ekiwandiiko netulonda omuntu agenda okisoma omuntu agenda okisoma siba omumanyi obamukola ekiro ne bamuyita mu grand imperial nti genda ojja kisoma bwoti ne bwoti nga tuuse mu neeke baali batuyise mu neeke eyawamu ojjukira mukulu kasozi batuyise mu neeke eyawano agenda okisoma ne bamuyita n'asula mu hotero ne bamuliisa n'emmere nnungi nnyo ne bamusuubiza n'omuwa ekifo kyange singa asoma ekiwandiiko ekyo n'akivuga ate muli magezi ng'akireese ne mmuleka ne ntuuka na wano ne tukola Besigye namusanga wali Dr. Besigye ne mukulu Njuba ne mukulu Bwanika Bale kakati oli gwe baali bagambye okusoma ekiwandiiko nze ne mbaleka ne bamuteeka ne ku agenda ti agenda okisoma mwambi wakano nda erikaawo mbuuzanga ne mugamba nti sebo teekako ddala mwami gwe nsamba yajja okusoma n'amuteekako bwe twatuka ku floor tumaze okuyita mu byonna Besigye nga nawe kikonyogo musome ekiwandiiko kyammwe ndowooza mwami nsamba seba ajja akisome ne mugamba dokita nakyusizzaamu njagala mwami Bwanika yaba akisoma era agenda otwononera ekiwandiiko nenga Bwanika Bwamika n'akisoma ati kuba yalina mukulu mu myaka omukuba abakulu ya commentinga that is kikonyogo atiwaka kubanga bino byonna obitandika wama ne banno nekyangezaako okujjayo mu kintu kino ogenda okimaliriza bakulekayo nosigala nga obonaabona ki omu nga bakuleseyo banno kati bali bannaye bamba baga temulonda bo bajja genda balonde quietly ogenda okutuuka ekyanga gwe yakikulemera temulonda oyakusigaza integrity tisikyusa kyenjogedde nga bakuleseeyo basebo ne bannyabo tuwa message bannaffe aba FDC tetulina kireka kuleka kibiina kyaffe genda either side gwe gyotayagala jangu mundu olwanire muli gwotayagala omulabe nti bamuvotinga out mu campaigning mu November aveewo watosobola genda omutte tugamba bwe tutyo abambaga kikonyoga awagira side ya Nandala awagira Dr. Nandala muwagira koki nze mpagira muntu akola kintu ekitwala pati yange mu maaso ate disadvantage tulina oba oyagala Nanda oyagala mulya tuba tumwagala kusawe ni achina power soko salama gezo omujeko power kusawe tojagenda mu lugulo gwa President Museveni kubanga simwaka sija mukiza kuyita wano gundi ejja kutomerera bwerere soko salama gezo omujeko oliko okole terms kusawe no mukulu Nanda ne bacha ina power bacha so okukyusa omuntu yenna mateeka nga na koti mu waba kati go okola amagezi go nasala amagezi go kaka kulante bava batya mu buyinza mu luzungu wachi baita scolding kuvuma finding someone you cannot outscold Besigye maya gunna ndala oba amuliati ne baduke najja na nkumbi only one way out balinde mu delegates conference oba gobe oba batti yes ate gwa kirese osafaringa bwomu bando nga bakoze iki eso mami se mujjo kumuchusa era boss wangu spokesperson up to now achali wenjogerera kati my spokesperson kuba chusiza mu parliament ne bateka omisansi bambi misansi bambi nakizo obukulu obona agenda bitwala mu maso ebibiri administrative bya party bikola bulijjo twajja ko muchala wini chiza wano ne tuyako omulala mukijukira toka wall is normal transfers ezaf
okay ate kiwanike kyalesa
omuntu nti nemugunya ku kikonyo ko talina mpisa aine party president yomuwo buyinza abayagadde baba bantu balowooza nti bayisiza bubi kulwa party oyinya party balikoze bubi naye n'abaleeta mu kakiiko ako tekitegeeza nti balina omusango ujja kutegerebwa nga bamaze okugenda mu kakiiko ako ne kayisa bwe bati baze bw'otagenda mu kooti kyekiddirira